Welcome to Tripodcast, episode 292. It's Monday, June 17th, and in today's Tripodcast, Dick Ollek is talking about benchmarking. Benchmarking has long been considered a great way to measure your company against competitors or industry standards. But in this Tripodcast, Dick has a little different twist. He's going to suggest a different way to measure your company. Let's listen in.
Thanks for joining us today. I want to talk to you a little bit about benchmarking. You know, the last few years we've heard a lot about benchmarking, and I can remember going to conferences over the last few years and having people say to me, who are you benchmarking with? Or what are you benchmarking with your people? And the questions have subsided a little bit, but they're still there, and it's still a very popular question. You know, peer groups helped a great deal in the development of this. I know I belonged to a peer group for over 20 years, and it was very valuable. It was a tremendous help to us to be able to get together a couple times a year to benchmark our company against the other 5 companies that were in my peer group. And we didn't call it that sophisticated benchmarking. We were just comparing. Just comparing numbers and processes and procedures, counting systems and things like that. So we had to, of course, now we had to give it a sophisticated title, and it's now called benchmarking over the last several years. But I know I got a lot of benefit out of it, and I hope my peer group members did as well. But let's talk about, rather than peer groups right now in this session, let's talk about benchmarking. You know, while comparing your numbers and your processes and your systems with other BSCs or with other companies around the country or around the world is a valuable thing. There's no question about that. But you know what? I think it's of vital importance that you benchmark against one major company, yours. And because you can benchmark against other companies, but you're not running those other companies, you're running yours. Just think of what you can learn and what you can improve on just by looking at some of your own numbers, some of your own things and your own items in your own organization. Let me just mention a couple. I listed some here, so pardon me as I maybe look down at my notes and read them off. But let's talk about sales for a moment. How are sales this year compared to the same time last year? Why are sales up or down? What type of accounts did we lose and why? What type of accounts did we gain and why? How do our margins on the various categories of accounts compare to the margins at the same time last year on those categories? How has the size of the average sale changed since this time last year? Or has it? How's our close ratio on sales compared to this time last year? Are we closing more than we were last year, or are we closing less? And then how about the size of the accounts? Are they larger or smaller? And how many opportunities or how many appointments, should I say, did it take to get a legitimate opportunity to make a presentation? How many appointments did you have to get to talk to people before they would even let you make a presentation to them compared to last year? If you're telemarketing, how many calls are you having to make this year versus last year to even get an appointment? Are we more successful in selling certain types of accounts this year than last year? And if so, why? Are there some different market segments this year that we should be pursuing versus last year? And the list goes on and on. Do you see how much you can learn from just benchmarking your own company, looking at it, how it compares? I know it doesn't compare with what another company is doing today, but you can't control that. What you can control is what are you doing versus last year? And how can we improve? Why did the numbers go down? Or why did the numbers go up? And what do we need to do to make a change, if we do need to make a change? Let's hit a couple of items on operations. How does our labor percentages compare? How do our labor percentages compare this year to last year? How's our employee turnover this year versus last year? And this is important. What are your top 10 profit accounts? And how do those compare to the top 10 last year? What about your 10 worst profit accounts, and why are they? Do you need to decide on keeping them or canceling them? And here's one. If your 10 worst accounts, profit-wise, were last year, are still the 10 worst this year, why are you still doing them? What's your best supervisor territories? Who's your best people, and why? What additional training do you need to do this year versus last year? How are your supplies running this year versus last year? Are you scheduling all your employees in for focus retraining on new products? And that list goes on and on and on. So these are just some of the areas, and like I said, we can go on and on and on, and you'll have some on your list. I'm sure if you decide to do some benchmarking in your own company, you'll have some on your list that I didn't even think of or didn't even list here. It's important to remember, more often than not, it's much easier and less expensive to improve the existing operation and create more profit dollars than it is to go out and get new business, because you have all the startup costs, the sales costs, on and on and on. About the time you're listening to this or watching this, we're going to be ending up somewhere around maybe between 4 months and 6 months of this year. Wouldn't that be a great time to go back and just see how you're doing in the first 4 to 6 months this year versus last year, and just take some of those things that I mentioned? And by the way, if I went over some of these a little too quickly for you, you can go on to my website, consultantsandcleaning.com, and plug in or hit the icon that says blog. And I did write a blog on benchmarking, which is the very same subject that I'm talking to you here on the Tripodcast. And there you can actually pick it up, each item, and run it off on your copy machine, and then you'll have it. So just as a matter of reference there, if you wanted to do that and get a hard copy of what we're talking about today. But I do encourage you to, take the time now to analyze what's really happening in your company. Benchmark your own company. Make the changes you need to make, and then you can reap the multitude of rewards that are yours by improving your own operation. So, let's do some benchmarking. Let's make some money. Let's earn some money. The only people that make money work in the mint. So let's do some benchmarking. Let's earn some money. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to a Tripodcast, short video and audio presentation about important topics in our industry. If you're a current subscriber to the Tripodcast, thank you. We appreciate it. If you're not yet a subscriber, please check it out. It's free and it's easy. Come to www.tripodcast.com, enter your email address on the right-hand column, and click subscribe. We'll send you out a new Tripodcast every Monday morning. Thank you for listening to today's Tripodcast. And now a special announcement about an upcoming interactive workshop called Successful Selling in Today's Economy. This will be held in Omaha, Nebraska on June 29th and be conducted by Dick Ollek, CBSE, and past president of the BSCAI. This workshop is being hosted by the BSCAI and will include a special segment from Gene Hansen, the co-founder of the janitorial store. Some of the topics being covered are determining which accounts to pursue, creating and maintaining a prospect list, 8 ways to go to market and which ones are most effective, conducting an effective walkthrough, the components of a successful sales proposal, and how to close the sale. This is a don't-miss workshop based on real-life, proven successes, not theory. Dick will be showing actual materials and techniques he has used to secure appointments, prepare the proposal, and close the sale during his 50-plus years in this industry. At the conclusion of this session, you'll be prepared to grow your company sales in a systematic and profitable way. You'll also receive a copy of Dick's book, selling contract cleaning services, compliments of BSCAI. Again, this is June 29th in Omaha, Nebraska. For more information, please visit bscai.org.